Hey, folks, as people know, I've been doing these little interviews and stuff around our local community and our state, and I'm really excited about my chat today because one of the things I'm trying to do is have chats with people who have really unique stories, who are really heart and soul Aussies, and you don't get them any better than Bunger Johnson. How are you, mate?
I'm good, mate.
Mate,
Yourself?
You're a Redcliffe boy.
Yeah, Redcliffe, born and bred. Yeah,
Fins up.
that's it. They're going right. Yeah,
They are going to Rome. They went so close to the finals this year, but they're going to have to be there next year. They're just doing so well.
yeah. No, they'll get there.
Mate, I've known you for quite a long time. I don't know if I met you through Rupert McCall with stuff I was doing with Rupert or whatever, but it's been a while.
Yeah, yeah. No, we did that. We did something with Rupert, but I run into a couple of gigs. I was up in Mackay or Gladstone somewhere, and
Right.
you were there, and two or three other places.
'Cause,
You're at. We run into each other all the time doing stuff.
yeah, because, mate, you're a stand up comedian and a bush poet as well, but that's kind of a bit of into your story. But, mate, going back to your early days, you're telling me you started out your journey doing ring barking out past St. George and things like that, was it?
Yeah. Well, it was at a place called Fallon. My uncle lived there, and um, I just went out there to just rough it up a bit. So I'd get on the back of the truck with 18 Indigenous people, however you
Yeah.
want to call them.
You were the white guy, they were the black guys, black fellas. You were the
That's
white fella, and
exactly it.
that's how it
But
was turned
mate,
back then. It
the
wasn't
whole
wasn't
lot
being
of
rude to each other, was it? It's just the way it was.
it was the way it was. Yeah, it was
Yeah,
the way it was. And mate, they were all good blokes, and they all worked hard.
yeah, yeah.
You'd all get string out in the line and work through the paddock, and 4 hours, and the old Joe would have the bloody billy boil, and they come out and have a bit of a feed, and then back into it for 4 hours, then back on the comma truck standing up. All of us there was it was a good education for a young bloke.
Yeah, mate. Just a bit of a naive question from me, mate, and there'll be lots of them along the way. But back in those days, before you had, probably the mobile phones we had now and the internet and everything else, how'd you get jobs like that?
Well, mate, it was my uncle had it out there at Fallon, which is halfway. It's in the middle of St George and Mungandai,
Yeah.
and he had a gang of blokes there, and he said, come out and spend a bit of time with me. So, which I did. I had a break from the boxing and went out and done it.
So you'd started as a boxer, and you tell them you started boxing when you're about 12 or 13, right?
Yeah, 12-year-old. I started training. I was fighting by the time I was 13. So
How many fights did you have?
I had 45 pros and amateurs. I don't know what the divvy was, but a lot more amateurs than I had pros. Yeah,
Mate,
I
you're
won.
our
I
local Les Darcy, mate. Our local Les
won,
Darcy.
won a state title and golden gloves and all that sort of thing.
Yeah, right.
So
And
and
you
probably,
you mentioned you mentioned to me before your last fight was at the famous Festival Hall. Did you do many fights there?
yeah, I had a fair few there. Yeah, there was I don't know, maybe 6 or 8. Maybe more. I forget now, but it's a long time ago. I had my last fight there when I was 22, and I'm 72 now, so it's a long time ago.
Yeah, mate, a lot of people now wouldn't realise we used to have a stadium in the middle of Brisbane called Festival Hall where all the concerts were held. But it had actually been built as a boxing stadium, hadn't it?
Oh, it was a great for the boxing, mate. They'd be full to the bleachers. When Hector Thompson and Jeff White and all those blokes fought, and it was just a great atmosphere.
Mate, talking of that, I'm going to put this picture up here. Who's this fella? That's you there, right? On the right hand side.
Yeah, that's me. Yeah, on the
And
white top.
who's that
Yeah.
fella on the left?
Lionel Rose.
Lionel Rose, the great Lionel Rose.
Yeah.
What were you doing there?
It was an honour. It was an honour to get a. He'd come up here for a fight,
Yeah.
and they put on a public sparring for him. There was a couple of thousand people watching the spar,
Yeah.
and I was the one that got picked out to sparring. And my trainer was a great trainer, Barry Parnell, trained a lot of winners, and he said you don't learn anything unless you're fighting sparring someone better than yourself. So,
Yeah, right.
but he was right. So, but anyway, I had a broken nose and a double tooth split in half. But while he was having a feed, I was having a pick.
So, mate, Lionel was he our first Indigenous champion in boxing?
Yeah, for sure and certain, he
Yeah.
was. But Hector Thompson and those blokes, there was a lot of others too. I done a lot of rounds of Hector Thompson and Jeff White. Jeff White was a real big draw card at Fistful Hall, and Wayne Doherty, and there was a heap.
That was Hector a Brisbane boy?
No, he was from Sydney originally. He come up here to train with I'm forgetting his name now, but he come up here under Reg Layton. He come up here to train under Reg Layton, and he went higher. And I fought for 2 world titles.
Jeez. Yeah, because
he fought Duran. Yeah.
Yeah, for some reason I thought he was local up here, but mate, when you had Lionel, because he put a song out too, didn't he?
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. I used to like. He had a couple of them.
It was a country type song.
Did a good job.
Yeah. Did you remember the name of it?
Pick Me Up on Your Way Down. That was one of them.
Yeah, right. Classic. No, I remember all that growing up, mate. Jeez. Yeah, you're in the thick of it all. Mate,
they were good years.
Did you make much quid out of the boxing back then?
I wasn't good enough.
Right.
I was. He said Leighton said to me, if you beat this bloke, the last fight I had, if you beat him, I'll give you a main event next start, which means you're making it, and they play the music, stand up and fight until the final bell, and it echoes through the place and sends shivers up your neck,
Yeah.
And I always wanted to do that, but I got up the next morning after fighting Seddy McGrady and looked in the mirror and seen my eye. I couldn't see. I thought, it's time I got out of here.
Yeah, mate. Well, you don't want to be damaging that beautiful face, mate.
No, damage has been done, yeah. Yeah, but that was sort of the end of the boxing career. But I've trained a lot of blokes since, And
yeah, well, we're talking to that, mate. We'll get back to your story there, but I'm going to pull up another picture here of you and a young fellow who I've actually asked to come on the show, and he hasn't come back to me yet. But he doesn't play a bad bit of footy, but a guy called Trevor Gilmeister, you were training Gilly, right?
Yeah. Well, we were mates. We were mates training along, and Ken Brown introduced me to him, and we started doing a bit of training. And then, when actually at one stage we challenged Mundine, but he didn't want to fight. But we had a lot of other fights. He fought when the AFL fought the NRL at the Entertainment Centre. Trevor fought a bloke called Dean Rice. He was 20 kilos heavier than Trev, and when we're walking up, Tosser Turner was with us, and when we're walking up, and then we first seen him, poor old Tosser said, "Have a look at the size of him," and Gilly said, "Thanks, Tosser." But anyway, he got in there and he did well. He beat him fairly easily, But it was Tosser used to come over and watch the spar all the time, and
oh wow,
it was a good time in our life, We
any youngins who get to watch this, Tosser Turner was a Redcliffe gentleman who he was heavily involved also in the rugby league and became the godfather pretty much of State of Origin, pulling all that together.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, he's a legend. And I'd written a song with Rupert McCall called Forever Queensland, which became the Origin song for a while, which Tosser really liked. And we got to play the song at his memorial on the field at Redcliffe there. And he was a real legend around the place. And those great people, pretty much at the heart and soul of that Queensland spirit we have.
That's it. And, like at his funeral, there was grown men crying. Everyone.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Me included. It's... He was just a terrific bloke, and I went away with him lots of times, and drove him to different places later on in life when he was slowing up, But
mate, I've never known what was Tosser's business. What was his background there with that? Like,
mate, on the wharves, he had a lot of blokes working for him, and he had a block of dirt just not far from there, and he delivering stuff there. He was a businessman. Yeah. He was a pretty clever fella,
Yeah, that was undoubtedly so. Yeah, but mate, I'm going to get Gilly on eventually, and he's got to answer some stories because I had a bloke on a while ago, Rick Szabo, who went to school with Gilly, and you hear all the tough man stories about Gilly, right? But there was one time apparently Rick does the Meatloaf show, and he's plays bands in production. But he said when they were kids at school, he was in the choir. And the lady who played the piano, her daughter was in the choir, and she was apparently pretty all right. This is primary school days we're talking here. And
Yeah.
apparently Gilly wanted to meet the daughter, so he joined the choir, and he didn't have the best singing voice, and Rick covered for him singing wise, but at least it gave Gilly a chance to talk to the piano player's daughter. So there you go. The hard man has a soft spot,
mate. And the thing is, like, we all know how tough Gilly is, like when we're in them tackles and everything.
Yeah.
But when we started training to fight, we always done some training, but we wouldn't do any sparring.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one thing being tough at football, but being tough at boxing, and everyone can be tough at it, but you got to get used to getting hit. Every time someone throws a punch at you, you'll blink and look away. Well, it didn't take long for him. We put a few on him. He was throwing them back just as good as I was pecking them out.
I could imagine.
So he was both tough, football and boxing tough.
Yeah, and a really nice bloke too. You can't get past that. No, so you guys have been mates for a long, long time, right?
Yeah, we have, and it's been a good association.
Yeah. Do you still work? Does he still box now? Is he boxing now still?
Oh, he does a bit. He goes to a gym down in Nunda, and for the life of me, I can't think of the name of it. But he goes down there 2 or 3 days a week for a work. He keeps himself pretty fit, Trev.
Yeah. Are you still doing any coaching?
Yeah, a little bit. Like we're in the middle of arranging a new shed for our gym because you can't afford to be paying big rents, and we only ever charge them $5 a night to cover the medical bill if someone sued us.
Yep.
So, but when that gets up, we'll be doing a bit again. Yeah.
On Redcliffe Peninsula?
Yeah, no, it'll be at Birkengerry, just not far from the Birkengerry pub. Yeah.
Right. Oh, cool, mate. We'll have to let us know when that happens. We'll let people know when you're up and running there. So, mate, you went from there's so many parts of your story I'm going to get through here, buddy. But one of the things you did with your dad was I thought it was worm farming, but it was worm digging. Mate, what does, as a professional worm digger, what's that actually? I kind of get the idea of fishing worms. Is that what it is, or what's the story?
They're very popular. It's they're a great bait for whiting. They're best bait. And so I sort of left school and went into doing that. And by the time I was 20, I took started getting a fair few blokes working for me and went from there. So everybody knew who I was in that regard. And it was and it kept you fit. It was like when I'd run every night. I'd run 8 mile every night before I went to bed, and then do me 2 hours in the gym, and then be up the next day digging worms.
Because obviously I know we used to go down the Tweed River all the time when my nan and pop lived down there, and Dad had a little boat, and the first thing you go out in the morning and you have the yabby pump, you'd be digging up the yabbies. Yeah. How do you get what's worm farming? How do you worm digging?
Well, you got to get them with a fork, and it's out in the mud and the weed.
Okay.
And, there's a knack in it. It takes a fair while to learn. And I had a system where I taught everyone. So I had a lot of blokes there in the end working, but it was good times. It was good outdoor life, and it kept.
So would you package them?
Would you go to the gym?
Would you package them up and take them around to the local fish shops?
I'd just take a big lot in a bucket, and they'd go from there. Yeah.
Right. And was that and mate, once again, forgive my naivety about this. Is that when you were doing that? Was that like a full-time paid job that you were living off?
Oh shit, yeah. Oh Christ, yeah. That's all I ever done. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Until later on in life, when I didn't have any of the blokes working for me, and I went in. I was training my own horses. Then I went full-time training horses for about 10 years, and in between that, I was doing the stand-up and the storytelling and that.
So with the racehorses, were they the trots you were doing then? Or
was that races, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So someone said to me the other day, they looked it up, and I trained 480 winners, I think.
Geez.
So it was over the course of a long time. 40 years, It's not that many when you count the years I was in it. So
what's the difference? And mate, once again, you're talking to someone totally naive here in this stuff, but difference between training, say, a racehorse to a trot horse? What's the difference in the technique and style and everything?
Oh yeah, there's a big difference. The gallopers, they don't take anywhere near as much work as a pacer does.
Mm-hmm.
And, with the pacer, even when you're a big fella, you can still sit in the cart and drive them.
Yep.
Whereas you go go to the track, you've got to have a jockey weight sort of on them to ride your track work and everything, you know. So, which I did. I had a gallop license too and a dog license.
Mm.
But I done best at the trots, yeah.
So with the trots, are you mainly, is it like a fitness thing with them, or is it the technique on how they do just stay trotting?
Oh,
Or
well, as long as they really, it's like, isn't it, getting the right fighter, getting the right bloody race dog, and getting the right galloper. And if you've got a real good horse, you know, anybody can train one, you know. Well, it's enjoyable, you know. It gives you, you know, when you see them come around and get fit and everything, you know.
Well, mate, you say anyone can train one, but I don't believe that. There must be a wealth of knowledge in behind actually pulling that together that you probably even don't realise you have, you know.
Yeah, you've got to know a lot of different shit. But I had people there I was learning off, and it was good, you know. So, but I found my way in it, and you know, you soon learn if you're eager, you know. So, but I always loved the horse, you know. So, my daughter trains and drives. She goes all right. Yeah.
And mate, when you're down at the Redcliffe Trots there, Bernie Ring a few years ago now, he got me to write a song called "Man, I Love This Life," which is all about the trots there at Redcliffe.
Oh yeah.
And it's their song, so we recorded it up, and I don't think they've used it as much as they could use it. Guys,
No,
use it more.
I don't think I have heard it, but
Yep,
Bernie
them.
just stepped down from the president. They've got a new president now. He stepped away, but he'll probably be back when he has a spell, you know. Yeah.
Yeah, well, tell them they need to revive the Nick Phillips song that they.
I'll tell him.
Bunger says you got to do it.
Yeah.
Mate, what would be your best memory of your best horse you've trained?
Oh, mate, like one that I half owned, a horse called Red Court, was a really good money earner that I had all the time. But long before I was training horses, me and two mates bought one called Buck and Abel, and a bloke called Graham Martin trained it. I was always there with him, and he was a champion. He run an Australasian record when he was 2-year-old. And we got offered a lot of money for him, and I said, "What leg do you want?" I won't even buy a leg. And then 2 days later, he got a virus and died. His name was Buck and Abel.
Yeah.
So
no, mate. So when in that game as a horse trainer, do you make most of your coin out of like the owners paying you to train it, or is it out of wins, or is it like when they sell the horse? Where does most of it come from?
I always owned my own, and when I was working for a bloke, and I just done it on a percentage thing, you know. He fed my horses, and I done the rest and took them to the races and that, you know. So, you got to win all the time to be making money out of it.
Yeah.
Unless you're a hobby trainer, and then you just do it for the love of it, you know.
Yeah. But which kind of brings us to the point in your life where you've gotten to stand up and party, and I'll get to that in a minute. But first of all, you spent so much of your life on the Redcliffe Peninsula, and you would have seen all the changes that have gone on there. Mate, I live out that way now, and you know, I love it. We were at Deagon and Sandgate for a while. I just love being around Bramble Bay. I love the whole thing. But what's, you know, as someone who's a legend in that area, your thoughts on the region and everything? How do you sum it up? Hey, quick commercial break. Big shout out to our sponsor for today's episode, which is me, Nick Phillips. Look, I've got to thank myself so much. I couldn't be doing the show without me. And if you get a chance, check out the sponsor's website, www.nickphillips.com. Check out my music, my videos, my bio, all that stuff, and maybe contact me and book me for a gig. That would be great. But thanks, Nick, for your sponsorship. Back to the show.
Oh, mate, it's just in the last 5 years, it's just gone swish. There's that many units gone up. The traffic, like, you wouldn't ever get a traffic jam in Scarborough. You get it now.
Yeah.
You know, and even you go down streets and there's cars parked on either side.
Mm-hmm.
Just unbelievable, you know. And the new development there, they started on the other side of Newport. Oh, it's unbelievable, the people that want to, and you know, why don't they want to come and live and I might be one-eyed, Nick, but mate, it's the greatest place, you know. You can always catch a fish handy, and there's always crabs around, and you know, they're mostly they're really good people, you know.
Well, I think even of course there have been those changes that are happening and modernisations going on, but there's still that really cool local spirit there. I reckon.
Oh yeah, there is. It's just a great place to live, and it's in the winter it's a couple of degrees warmer, and in the summer it's a couple of degrees cooler.
Exactly.
So you got that, and then you get those breezes in the afternoon. It's just a wonderful spot.
And even the traffic gets bigger, mate. I still love the fact we've got these really wide streets there. Those main roads, they're really
Yeah,
wide, and
yeah,
you
we
not
have.
feel like you're
Yeah,
driving around these little tiny estates where they've got these tiny little streets. We got some man-sized streets around our region, mate.
yeah, yeah. No, we have lot of them are good.
Yeah,
Lot of them are real good. So
yeah.
so they are.
And mate, the great thing about the Dolphins footy team now, I mean, you get things like obviously the Bronx are a great team and everything, a great club. But there's very few clubs around that get into the NRL that have got that local club history like the Dolphins have.
It,
And,
they've done a great job. Don't worry about that. They've done a great job. And Des Webb had a lot to do with it. I'll tell you, he had a lot
mhm,
to. And Tosser Turner,
mhm.
you know, they had a lot to do with it. But the boys that have taken over since, they've expanded it, and it's a big club. You know,
Yeah,
and they got bigger plans, I'm sure.
yeah. I hope they end up playing more of those games. Yeah, I know that they obviously get more money from the government when they play in at Suncorp, but I hope they do play more games locally because it's like you pack out that local venue and the atmosphere is so great. It's like with the Queensland Reds, for example, they used to play at Ballymore and you'd pack out Ballymore and it was just awesome. You go to Suncorp and you get like half a stadium or a third of a stadium, you just don't get that same vibe. Whereas, you pack out Dolphin Stadium and it's just like, the players aren't just out there on the field. They've got every person in the community there running the
That's it.
ball with them.
They yell a bit louder. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So,
So, mate, what got you into comedy and poetry?
well, I could always remember a joke, and then I a girl I was going out with, we went to Brentley's Theatre Restaurant one night.
Brentley's at Lutwich there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I seen this little fat bloke sitting in the corner, and they're waiting on him hand and foot, and they had the singing and dancing and all that going on, band on the thing, and in the middle of it, up got this bloke, and he was a stand-up comic.
Mhm.
And the jokes he told, he was just unbelievable. He wasn't. A lot of the jokes he told I knew, but he put them over so good, you just kill you. And his name was Lucky Grills.
Lucky. Okay, yeah, right.
And he was Bluey in one of the TV series years ago.
Detective,
All
mate,
that.
the copper.
Yeah. And I never said anything to the Shell, and I'm going home and I'm thinking, I wonder what he got paid for that.
Hmm.
He must have got paid something. So I started looking up, learning more jokes, and I started learning a bit of poetry and one thing and another. And a mate of mine that great fighter he was, Johnny Rakowski, used to have roadie meets down in Roadie Road there.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And he went to the Olympics in '68 or something like that. And when he come back from over there, he come to my own gym and sparred me, which is a big thing for a kid to spar an Olympian.
Hmm.
And he was my idol. And he so that's how I got to know him. And then when I moved to Wavell Heights, he lived at Wavell Heights. Every time there was a big fight on, he'd have it on, and we'd have 20 or 30 blokes there, and he'd get me up and get me to do a bit of stand up, few poems and jokes, and it all started from there. And then I had a mob ring me, from a gym. They were having a Christmas breakup, and he said, "You want to come down and do some stuff?" I said, "Oh yeah." He said, "Well, I'll pay you." I said, well, that was my first paying job, so that's how it all kicked off. So it all started like that, and as we went, I got a bit better at it.
Mate, what was your process for writing jokes?
I didn't write. I did just jokes that I knew from. I can still remember a joke that I heard and could tell you who told me and where I was sitting when it happened.
So you collected the
Yeah, collected
portfolio.
them over the years, but I had to learn the poetry. I started out with a lot of root. Oh well, I had a lot of root McCalls there, but I had sort of my uncle that where I was doing the ring bark, and he used to always read a poem to me called the Bucolic Bride, and I started out learning that, and then I just added to it, and then Rupert's the best poet there is, and I do a
Yeah.
lot of his and a lot of the mad poets, and I changed from that to a joke to a story, like because I toured with my nephew was Chopper Reed's bodyguard for 10
Yeah.
years.
Yeah. Right.
I toured with him and Roger Rogerson for that long too. I used to do the first bit, the first 40 or 50 minutes, and then they'd come out,
Mm-hmm.
So that's where it all come from.
Mate, I did an interview a few weeks ago now with Steady Eddie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and he's getting back into it. He hasn't gone away, but he's sort of laid low for a bit, and because he was big in the '90s, but he's actually getting back into it and working on a TV show he's developing and all that. And
Oh,
really good, mate. Just with your camera, mate, you're just falling out of shot a little bit. Just there you
sorry.
go.
How's
That's all
that?
right. Beautiful. And yeah, mate, it was great talking to him. But I imagine, and I'll get back to your poetry in a minute, but all the things you've done, the areas you've been in, from worm digging to ring barking to boxing to horse training, you must have met the largest amount of Aussie characters in your lifetime.
Oh shit, yeah. When I was pig chasing, I'd done a stint running buffalo.
Hang on, when were you pig chasing?
Yeah.
When were you doing that?
I'd done that all my life, and I had a stint running buffalo in the Northern Territory. And one of the dangerous things I've ever done was running wild bulls in the Cape York.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah, that was bloody. That'd get the blood pumping. I'll tell you, they were dangerous. Yeah.
So what would the cattle property owners employ you to go up and do stuff with them? Or?
Yeah, well, I went for a bloke called Bud Quaid. He was a good fighter too, and I used to breed some dogs for him. I met him through the boxing, and he had 166 ring fights and won 160.
Crikey!
Anyway, when he gave it away, he was doing a lot of bull running and that, and I wanted to have a go at it, so I went up and I spent a couple of months with him up there doing that. We're still great mates today. So that's how I done all that.
Through the boxing in those days, did you ever do anything with Fred Beaufry?
No, but I've met him a couple of times.
Yeah.
But when the boxing troupe comes through here, thing is with Fred Brophy, it doesn't matter who was in the crowd. If you put your hand up, mate, they fought you.
Yep.
So it didn't always happen that way in the old days. I don't know who was running the tents back then, but when I was a kid, they were all good fights.
Yeah.
So, but I never had a shot at the tent. But had me time over, I'd have a go. Yeah.
Yeah, because obviously it was entertainment and it was all.
Oh yeah, well that's
but it was certainly good.
Fred's a great entertainer.
And it goes back to that heart and soul of the regional Queensland thing. I mean, I played in so many nightclubs where I think at the end of the night there were more boxing matches going on than you'd see at Festival Hall every week. I tell you, there were some of those towns that you go to and you play to, you'd be like dodging and weaving, loading your gear out, I can tell you.
Yeah, but he did a good job, Fred Brophy. He was good at getting it all going, and make it pretty fair, He wouldn't let anyone get hurt the best he could,
Yeah, for people who don't know, Fred ran a thing where, like, when all these carnies come through to the Ekka and all that, he's always gone around to the different fairs and events, and he'd have a boxing tent where he'd have his fighters, and they'd take on anyone in the crowd they wanted to, and they'd have some fun, and
he still does. He still does it to this day,
Yep. Yeah. Well, he must have started way early '60s, wouldn't he?
Yeah, I've done.
Well, lost your mic there. What's going on? Like something's happens. We've lost your mic there, Bunger. Oh, you're back. There you go.
Back.
You're back. There, mate. And just leave it on that screen, mate. Don't worry about trying to. Oh, there you go. Beautiful.
There you go. You got it.
You're mastering.
Sorry about that.
You're mastering this technology.
Oh, I fucking don't know about that. I'm too old. I'll be too old to be mastering any fucking thing.
So, mate, have you got a poem you'd like to share with us?
Yeah. Well, what do you want it on?
I'll leave it up to you, Master.
Do you want one on Elf?
Sounds great. Alfie Langer?
Yeah.
Yep.
And look, I can't tell you who wrote it. I know I didn't, but I'll never forget when I used to come down to Scarborough all the time, mow the place down here, and the old bloke next door, he used to every day I went down, he'd say, you got a joke for me, you got a poem for me, and it's been going on for years, you know. And one day I pulled up and he said, I got one for you. And I said, what's that? And he had it written on a little bit of paper, you know.
Yeah.
And I said, when I read it, I just thought, oh, this is just unbelievable. And I was training Trevor, and we were training in the local park down there. And I said, Trevor, look, I said, I heard a poem yesterday. I said, I got it in my pocket. I said, I'll read it to you. I said, this is the funniest thing you've ever heard in your life. And it's called, Of Course I Love You, Dear. Of course I love you, darling. You're a top-notch bloody bird. And when I say you're gorgeous, I mean every single word. Say your bum's a little on the big side. I don't mind a bit of flab, as long as when I'm ready there's something there to grab. Say your belly's not flat anymore. I tell you I don't care. As long as when I cuddle you I can get my arms around there. No Sheila your age has nice round perky breasts. Just gave into gravity, but I know you did your best. I'm telling you the truth now. I wouldn't tell you a lie. I think it's very sexy that you got dimples on your thighs. I swear in me Nana's grave that the moment we met, you're as good as I was ever going to get. No matter what you look like, I'll always love you, dear. Now shut up while the footy's on and get me another beer. So I get them mixed up a bit there. I got that in the ones I started with, and the Bucolic Bride. So the Bucolic one, so the one my uncle used to recite to me. That's how I got the idea to do it in the first place, you know.
Yeah.
So
what would be your favourite Rupert one to recite?
I do a lot of them. It depends if you want a football one, a racing one, or green and gold malaria. It should nearly be the bloody national anthem.
National anthem. I agree with that one. Any of those, you're the DJ, mate. You choose a track.
Right. Okay. Well, we'll give green and gold malaria a go.
Sounds good.
The day would soon arrive when I could not ignore the rash. I was obviously ill, so I called on Dr. Nash. The standard consultation would adjudicate my fate. I walked into the surgery and gave it to him straight. Doc, I wonder if you might explain this allergy of mine. I get these pins and needles running up and down my spine. From there across my body, they will suddenly extend. My neck will feel a shiver, and my hairs will stand on end. And then there is this symptom that a man can fear, a choking in the throat and the crying of a tear. Well, the doctor scratched his melon with a rather worried look. His thorough brow suggested that the news to come was crook. What is the doc? I motioned. Have I got a rare disease? I'm man enough to cop it sweet. So give it to me, please. I'm not sure, he answered in a puzzled kind of way. You got some kind of fever, but it's hard for me to say. When is it that you get this most peculiar condition? I thought for a moment, and I gave him my position. I get it when I'm standing in an Anzac Day parade. I get it when the anthem of our native land is played. I get it when Meninga makes a Kiwi crunching run, and when Border grits his teeth, the score really gutsy ton. I got it back in 91 when Far Jones held the cup, and I got it when Japan was stormed by Better Loosen Up. I get it when the banjo takes me down the snowy river, and Matilda sends me waltzing with a billy boiling shiver. It hit me hard when Sydney was awarded with the games, and I get it when I see our farmers fighting for their names. It flattened me when Bertram raised the boxing kangaroo, and when Perkins smashed the records. Well, the rashes were true blue. So tell me, Doc, I questioned, am I really going to die? As he broke into a smile and fumbled for his stethoscope and pushed it out of reach. As he wiped away a tear, he gave this stirring speech. From the beaches here in Queensland to the sweeping shores of Broome, on the harbour banks of Sydney where the waratahs in bloom, From Uluru at sunset to the mighty Tasman Sea, in the Adelaide cathedrals at the roaring MCG. From the great Australian bite up to the Gulf of Carpentaria, the medical profession call it green and gold malaria. But forget about the textbook, son. The truth I shouldn't hide. That rash you have contracted here is good old Aussie pride. I'm afraid you're born with it. And one thing is for sure, you'll die for young man, because there isn't any cure.
Yeah, very, very cool.
Is that all right or not?
Sorry?
You there?
Yeah, mate. What'd you say?
I said, was that come out all right?
That was really great, mate. And what I will do, obviously, we're both friends with Rupert, and Rupert McCall's one of our great Australian talents. So when I edit this up, I'll put the link up for Rupert's website and encourage people to go check out his books and buy his books and get a real piece of Australian culture into you. And that's great, mate. The honour you do, I know, in doing his poems is awesome. So thank you very much for that.
No worries. No worries, Nick.
Okay, quick commercial break here while we're doing the show. I have to thank our sponsors for today's show, which is me. Big shout out to Nick Phillips for, mate, I just couldn't do this show without you. So it's really good. But look, if you are enjoying the stuff I'm doing in capturing local stories and trying to get more word out about what is happening in our local communities and would like to help out, come on board as a sponsor. Please send me an email and let me know. My email's down here. You'll see it, aussielocalandlive@gmail.com. Reach out to me. We'll work out something where you can help me and I can help you, and we can tell more stories and we can make it all work, which is really, really cool. If you don't want to be a direct sponsor, maybe you just want to help out by going to my tip jar on my website. Just put your camera on the QR code there, and it will take you to my website. All the dollars come here, and everything goes towards helping marketing this whole little thing I'm trying to do. So that's it. If you'd like to be a sponsor, let me know. If you can help out in other ways, let me know. If you have a story to tell, email me, and I'd love to get you on the show. Anyway, back to the show. Mate, you're old school. You saw Australia kind of before it went through a lot of its changes and things are going on in Australia. Mate, on a bit of a serious note, what's your feeling on where we are now and where we've come from and where we're going to? Do you have, with your hindsight, looking back on a long life of experiences, what are we doing right?
I'll tell you something we have done.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen the best of it. I'm telling you, we're on a downward spiral. And I don't want to be a knocker or anything, but mate, these kids are never going to have the life that I had, as a young bloke. I got a little granddaughter, three and a half. They're never going to get to see what I saw. And that's sad. It's.
Were there a lot less guardrails when you were growing up, mate, where you could get out there and just be a kid?
Oh shit, yeah. Well, these days, like I was lucky growing up at Scarborough, and I had little rowing dinghy. I'd row out the reef, and I had my own little nets, and all that. And I'd be fishing all the time. And then when I was old enough, I was out the west chasing pigs and digging worms and fishing. Like, I had a great growing up life.
Yep.
It's we're losing it all without me going any further.
When you say we're losing it, obviously we've got to fight back in a certain way and hang on to a lot of our stuff. What would be your advice, even to parents, maybe with young kids, and what would your advice be? That
I can say this, that when I'm teaching kids to fight, it's just not a matter of teaching them how to fight and how to throw them. Mm-hmm. It's giving them principles in life, and what they're learning here is not for them to go out and bash anyone. Mm-hmm. It's there for them to defend themselves when they have to. Mm-hmm. But the main thing is to give them a bit of confidence in life, that they can be outspoken. Yep. Without the boxing, I would never have done. If you had told me when I was going to school I was going to be a stand-up poet or storyteller or joke teller, I would have thought you were mad.
Yep.
But it's only the confidence I got from boxing that's give me that, and it took me forever. Like I was 42 or something before I realised I could do it.
Yep.
You know, so
Yeah,
but it's
confidence is an amazing thing that comes through sport, and I find with music too. Just having that courage to be able to get beyond yourself and just put yourself out there and back yourself at the end of the day.
that's exactly it. And I see kids there that like hopefully there's been I've changed their life in a good way.
Mm, mm.
So even if they didn't ever get good enough to fight, they, when they come in the gym, they got to walk up and say "G'day, Bunger" and shake your hand. When they leave, thanks, shake your hand, and grip it without breaking your hand. Just grip it and firm it up nicely, and mainly look you in the eye. The kids have got to
Mate,
learn to do that.
yeah, exactly. Mate, one of the things I highly admire about you and your story is that as a musician, I've been lucky that I wake up every day. I don't actually go do a job. I do my passion every day. And I
Yeah,
feel really sad for people and this isn't putting anyone down or whatever, but people who sort of get trapped in a situation where they turn up most of their life doing things that they don't really want to do, but their mortgage is so big, whatever else, they just have to do it. You've you've covered so many things in your life that are obviously all been your passions.
yeah, they have. Yeah.
And to me, that's inspirational, mate. So thank you for that. Showing that it's okay to follow your passion.
Oh yeah. If it's something you like doing, you'll work at it forever.
Mhm.
So
And
it's
you don't have to become world champion to do it. You
no,
got to be your own champion.
that's exactly it. You just get out there and have a go.
Yeah.
And treat everybody as equal. And doesn't matter whether they're millionaires, or just everyday people. You treat them with the same respect.
Mate, if there's a sporting club or a men's shed or some organisation that want to have you out to talk to, or a school event or anything that want to do your poetry, do some comedy, and I know if it's a school, Bunger knows how to do the appropriate thing for the appropriate audience.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, that's it. Yeah.
He's a pro at what he does. But what's the best way to people to contact you if they want to do that?
Oh mate, I'm I don't know. Well, how to say easy to get to, but
Is it? Can I share your number on this, or there's somebody?
yeah. By all means, yeah.
Okay, well, I'll put Bunger's number up here, and if you've got an event coming up you want to book him for, let him know. And mate, is there anything I haven't asked you that you'd like to talk about?
Oh, I think we covered everything. I think we covered everything pretty well. Probably later on in an hour's time, I might think of something, um, you covered it pretty well, Nick.
Mate, well, what I've been doing, I've just started doing this actually. The last couple of shows I've been doing, but I've been winding up by asking the people. And mate, first of all, thank you very much for doing this. I wanted to talk to you for a long time about
That's
this,
no trouble.
and I've always admired the interest you've had in my music and what I do, and what you've done for people on our local community is just amazing. But mate, the way I've wrapped things up recently, I've been asking people if you were on the big stage and you had a message for the world, what would the Bunger Johnson's message be to the world?
Oh, mate, it's no good arguing and fighting. The main thing is just stay happy. If you're happy in life, everything will flow along good.
Very cool. Very cool. Mate, thank you very much for your time on this, Bunger. I appreciate you doing it and work getting your friend around. We got the phone working and the camera working and everything else. And I'd like to grab you back later on sometime. We'll have a second
anytime,
episode 2.
Nick. Anytime at
Excellent.
all, mate.
All right. Now, just when you thought we were at the end of the show, you're wrong. We got more to talk about. And we were talking, there was something that Bunger and I wanted to bring up that we didn't do. So neither of us are the sharpest tools in the shed. So we said, mate, we'll just blow it. We'll just edit this back in at the end of the chat. But mate, there was a absolute Australian legend that you spent time with. It was a good mate of yours that had a little bit to do with sharks.
Yes, mate. Vic Hislop and I were great mates from when I was about 15-year-old.
Yeah.
And he come to learn to fight in the gym down there we had at Scarborough. And
oh, really?
And then when we sort of drifted apart a bit, he was 5 or 6 years older than me. And then down the track, I was working on the door at the Moreton Bay, and he come in, and we clicked back in as mates again, and we went on catching sharks and doing all that stuff. We had a whale of a life, and even still now I do a lot of trips up to the Cape York with him,
Yep.
And we caught some. He's up there now. Actually, I was supposed to be with him, but I couldn't go. But he's been a legend all his life, and he hadn't been all that well lately. But
Right.
doesn't stop him doing it. He's still out there doing it.
Mate, well, he had down near Coolangatta. He had his
The
shark
shark
place
show,
there for ages, didn't he?
and he had one at Harvey Bay, and he had one at one in Cairns, and he had one at I'm trying to think of the place just before Cairns. But at any rate, he had a fair few. And
him and his wife, was it a TV show or documentaries they were doing? Or
no, he's done 22 or 24 documentaries
right.
on everything, on shark fishing, hunting, all up the north, and he's had them all edited out, but he hadn't released any yet. He hadn't released any of them yet. So
really? But what? No, I thought I remember seeing things on telly with him. Was that?
Oh, you see a lot of people have done different things on him,
right?
But these are ones that he just leaving there for his kid. For his kids. He's got 6. So
so mate, while you guys did a lot of shark catching, he also I think he also had a pretty big respect for the shark hierarchy,
sure.
didn't he?
Oh yeah, for sure. But at the end of the day, the only thing we can predict about them is their unpredictability.
Yep.
And they will eat you at any time they feel like it. Don't worry about that. And but he wrote a book on it all those years ago, and there's not one thing he'd changed to this day. And I should get a copy and send you so you can read it.
Oh, that'd be brilliant. But do you have a particular memory of being with the sharks?
Oh, lots of them. We caught them out of a lot of the boats. Sometimes in between boats, we'd go and use the boat I used for work digging worms. We'd catch them longer than the boat. Yes.
What was the biggest shark you ever caught?
Oh, not with me. I wasn't there when he got the big white pointer down. It was 21 foot 10 inches.
Jeez.
But
7 meters.
Yeah, but I caught him 17 and 18 footy with him all the time.
And that's like something out of the Jaws.
Oh yeah. Oh, fearsome stuff. But
Wow.
he's one of them blokes. He's good at everything. Like he was a builder by trade, and then he went into a car yard, and all the time he was shark fishing and building a name up, and he made a living out of catching sharks and promoting them, and and having shows. And he toured. He used to tour with one he had embalmed. He'd go all the way down to Melbourne with it and put on a show. He was a bloody businessman. Don't worry about that. And
mate.
Certainly no dummy. He's a very clever bloke, and he's one of them things. When we go away, he can do anything. If you break down in the middle of nowhere up there, you bugger. But he not only can he fix it, but he'd have everything there to fix it with.
Yeah.
And he's a good bushman and a good seaman. So
I'm an absolute legend. And if I can just throw this out here to you, mate, if you show, when I put this up and you show it to Vic, if ever you and Vic would like to come on for a chat together, that would be great.
Yeah, well, I'll put it to him. He's hard to get, but on something like that, because he's had the media put him down all his life, and that won't be the case. That won't be the case here.
No, mate. This is about telling the good stories and the real stories, and
that's it, mate. He'd be a big attraction,
Yeah, that'd be great. So, mate, anyone watching this from overseas at any time, yes, we have a lot of sharks in Australia. We have snakes. We have all those things, but you really don't have to worry about them. It's just the drop bears you have to worry about.
Yeah.
Be aware of the drop bears.
Yeah. You never know when they're going to show up.
That's it, mate. Mate, thanks again, mate. Thank you for your time.
Okay, mate. I'll catch you later.
See you, buddy.
Bye.